a real jolt. Welcome to SportsCenter on Right No Tool. So the NBA Finals, 2 games in. Stanley Cup Final, just the one.
Yep, and everyone kind of talking about the bite. The bite heard around the world. That wasn't a bite. No suspension for Alex Burrows. With more on that, James Duthie in the NHL on TSN panel in Vancouver.
Thank you and welcome back to Vancouver. First of 2 day-offs prior to game number 2, and there will be no extra day-offs for the Canucks' Alex Burrows. Yes, usually the NHL uses video review to determine if a puck has crossed the goal line or not. On this day, they were poring over the video to decide if it was a chomp or just an innocent nibble by Burrows on Patrice Bergeron. They decided they could not 100% conclusively prove that Burrows did it on purpose. Farhan on that and the other major storylines heading into Game 2.
Yes. Alex Burrows will play in Game 2. The league says there is nothing conclusive enough to suspend him in the Stanley Cup Final for biting Patrice Bergeron's finger. Alex Bolduc offers a unique perspective on the incident.
How French guys say hi, you know, if you really respect the guy, you know, you stick your finger in his mouth, and that's how you show respect in Quebec.
It's the league's decision, and I let them, you know, make the call, make the decision, and it's there, so I have nothing else to say about it, I guess.
As far as I'm concerned, the league has made a decision on it, and we move on. I think what's more important for us is to prepare for next game more than put all our attention on something that's already been ruled. So let's move on here, and we're not the type of team that whines and cries about things like that.
If nothing else, the Burrows incident sparked an early dislike between these two teams that otherwise know very little about one another, something that usually takes a few games to build up.
It's finals, you know, it's going to be like that. It's going to be a long series. You know, we expected a tight series right from the start, and it looks like it's going to be like that.
I think we expect that for the Stanley Cup Final, though. It's everybody wants to win so bad, and both teams were ready. It's been a long time we didn't play, so it was a good game, but it's going to get better and better every game.
The extra day off may add to the dialogue, but will it be enough to get Dan Hamhuis back in the lineup? He left the game early in the second period following this hit on Milan Lucic.
You prefer not to have injuries, but we've had them during the regular season when we've just dealt with them, and we've done the same thing in the playoffs. So nothing's going to change.
Everybody's comfortable with playing really with anybody, and you know, Dan is obviously a big part of this team, but you know, other guys stepped in big time.
If Hamhuis can't play, expect Keith Ballard to get another opportunity. He held his own in a pair of games at the end of the San Jose series.
Without those 2 games, it becomes quite a long time since beginning of the Nashville series. So, you know, but regardless of when the last time you played or, you know, how many days it's been, you have to be sharp.
The Canucks held an optional practice on Thursday, just the 4th line and players who were scratched from Game 1. But Manny Malhotra was again not on the ice for the 3rd straight day, leading many to suggest that he has suffered a setback and will not be available anytime soon. Farhan Lalji, TSN, Vancouver.
Back with the boys, Pierre Maguire, Ray Ferraro, and Darren Dreger. Why, with the video evidence we saw, did the NHL elect not to suspend Burrows?
Not conclusive enough. The video evidence wasn't clear enough for Mike Murphy and hockey operations to rule that supplemental discipline was required here. Now, Mike Murphy did talk with Alex Burrows, and Alex Burrows convinced Mike Murphy that he wasn't purposely trying to bite Patrice Bergeron, that this was merely a scrum-related issue. And you also have to keep in mind that it is the Stanley Cup Final, and Mike Murphy says he needs 100% proof to take the player out of the series. In slow motion, you can see that the glove is in the mouth and the bite took place, but in real time, it was just part of the scrum.
Now, if I'm sitting in the chair, it's a 1-game suspension. And I also think that when we look at goals that are reviewed, they look at them in slow motion. They don't always look at them in real time. So what if it's in slow motion that you see the bite? If the foul is committed, the foul is committed.
There isn't a hockey person that I talked to today that doesn't think there should have been at least a 1-game suspension to back up Ray's point. But the biggest thing to me is that I like the way the Bruins are handling this right now, fellas. The bottom line is they don't want to whine about it. They want to move forward. Don't worry about what did happen. Worry about what's going to happen. So force the issue. This will be a rallying cry for the Boston Bruins. And the other thing to the NHL, get a high-definition TV.
Now, and then the NHL says no official reported it, didn't see it.
Okay. Well, the other issue for Boston, the bigger issue, is they're down 1 game to none. And they played a really, really decent hockey game, at least for 2 periods, a really good road game. But now they have to answer questions for 2 days about why they lost. You answer it for them. Why did they lose?
Too many turnovers, too many bad line changes. They allowed the speed of the Vancouver Canucks to take over the game. And that's a huge portion of the Boston Bruins, and their character is getting pucks in deep, making good line changes, establishing matchups. They didn't do a lot of that in game number 1, especially after the first period. You could see the speed was up the ante anyway by the Vancouver Canucks, and for Boston that forced a lot of turnovers. They didn't come out of their own zone clean. They didn't get good line change because of all the neutral stone mistakes they made. So for the Boston Bruins, if they're going to be better and they're going to have a chance to win in game number 2, they got to get rid of those turnovers and have better line changes.
Yeah, but Pierre, you also talked about the character and defining it in a Bruin sense, a part of it being getting in on the forecheck. Well, their top line of David Krejci, Nathan Horton, and Milan Lucic just was not good enough in game 1. Krejci had some nice moments, in particular on the power play. When he has the puck, he's just a wonderful passer. He was able to find Nathan Horton in the first period and Mark Recchi a couple of times in the second period. Horton had a couple of chances, and although he had 5 shots, wasn't particularly dangerous. Milan Lucic really struggled in game 1. He was a step slow, wasn't able to engage physically, and when this Bruins line works at their best, they chip the puck in, they cycle, they work the puck down low, and they get their chances there. This Bruins team doesn't score enough easy goals to have their top line be that quiet.
2 #1 topics in the dressing room, the bite and the goaltending.
Yeah.
Did you get the same feeling I did early in the second that 1 goal was likely going to decide the game?
Yeah, and both teams give a lot of credit to their goaltenders. Cup-winning goaltending from both the Vancouver Canucks and from the Boston Bruins. In Boston, they're used to talking about the play of Tim Thomas because, for the most part, in the Stanley Cup playoff run, he has been stellar. And we saw something somewhat unique in Tim Thomas in game 1, and that was how far out of his crease he came, how he challenged the Vancouver Canucks. That may be an issue for Vancouver and Boston moving forward. And Roberto made key saves, and he was equally solid.
One other piece of news, Brad Richards not coming back to the Dallas Stars.
This speaks to the ownership issue of the Dallas Stars, and that's not going to get resolved anytime soon, likely July, August. So the Dallas Stars as an organization weren't in a position to make a credible offer. So Brad Richards will go to unrestricted free agency July 1. Maybe he does Dallas a bit of a favor. They trade his negotiating rights, but he'd have to waive his no move to do that.
There'll be a lot of teams that will be interested, but I know that one team in particular on the island of Manhattan salivating at the opportunity of reuniting John Tortorella and Brad Richards.
Brad Richards is going to make some money. So is Kevin Bieksa of the Vancouver Canucks, as he's due to become an unrestricted free agent, but he has other business to take care of first.